My name is Betty Callowell. We have a great show lined up for you. We are expecting Ferdinand Waititu, who's the newly elected Member of Parliament for Kabete, as our guest anchor, trusting and hoping that he is on his way. But even though the show must go on, we have Willis the Word Master, who's going to be teaching us some serious pronunciations during the show. He is in Kisumu County. He's going to be joining us in a short while. We also have different stories coming in from across the country. A great show we have for you tonight. Let's begin with the highlights.
You have buses here, you're paying 10 million shillings, you 11 million shillings a month for 5 buses. Jamani, si ukuje mimi nikupatie basi ya NYS at 100,000.
The gloves are off. Uhuru wraps Airports Authority officers over ridiculous buses hiring deal. Kisii erupts as Gusii students protest fatal road accident near the college.
Scared me when I was analog, but now I work out digital teacher.
Laptops for schools. Teachers undergo training for next year's rollout. And man arrested at Embu airstrip on suspicions of being a terrorist.
Welcome to the show. Our sign language interpreter is William Silla. Now tonight, the accounting officers of the Kenya Airport Authority are scratching their heads after President Uhuru Kenyatta demanded answers on 5 buses that were hired at 11 million shillings per month. The airside buses that were acquired late last year joined the long list of questionable deals that now appear to be driving the president to a point of anger. As Linda Ogutu reports, the president has also given an ultimatum to principal secretaries to either implement the e-procurement process immediately or go home.
On the 3rd of December 2014, the Kenya Airports Authority Facebook page had a new exciting message with pictures of airside buses that were to be used by passengers, 3 to be precise, with 2 more on the way. A great achievement according to KAA. And so as President Uhuru Kenyatta made his way to launch the new Terminal 2 at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, all eyes were on the additional achievement. A terminal that will now see KAA handle 2.5 million passengers annually and bring the capacity to 7.5 million passengers annually. The president's mind was elsewhere. The devil was in the details.
I find it impossible to believe and to understand that you can say you have buses here, you're paying 10 million shillings, you 11 million shillings a month for 5 buses. Jamani, si ukuje mimi nikupatie basi ya NYS at 100,000. Yeah? Hii mambo ya wizi lazima tusimamishe.
With that, the guest of honor shifted attention to the 5 buses that have been hired by Kenya Airports Authority at 11 million shillings per month. That translates to 2.2 million per month per bus. In a year, KAA will spend 132 million shillings to hire all the 5 buses. In other words, the buses are rented at approximately 73,000 shillings per day. It is this amount that has ached Uhuru Kenyatta.
We cannot sustain this. We must utilize the resources that we are given properly. Na wale ambao wamefanya hiyo, nyinyi mjue vile watashikwa na vile watapelekwa kotini, kwa sababu hiyo ni lazima tufanye namna hiyo. Na warudishe pesa ya wananchi.
The man who found himself nearest to the head of state as he expressed his anger was former Inspector General of Police David Kimayo, the man who now serves as KAA chairman.
That we are committed on issues of integrity. And this, you know, Your Excellency, even on my side, as an individual person, that I'm totally against the issues of integrity.
Kimayo's may turn out to be an unfortunate slip of tongue, but with none other than the president having raised the red flag, scrutiny will now shift to the 5 buses and the process through which they were acquired. But the president was not done yet. He warned PSs to implement e-procurement or else.
If you are not on it by next week, your status as an accounting officer will be withdrawn. There are many other Kenyans capable of doing that job, and we will request and demand that you show cause why you should still be a permanent secretary if you are not capable of fulfilling a simple directive.
Linda Ogutu, KTN Prime.
Well, that story is the focus of our big question tonight, and we're asking you, what is your comment on the President's ultimatum to accounting officers at the Kenya Airports Authority? What's your comment or opinion on the President's ultimatum to accounting officers at the Kenya Airports Authority? The number to text in is 22155. The hashtag on Twitter is Friday Briefing. Now, Kisii town was turned into scenes of chaos and running battles as Kisii Institute of Technology students protested the death of 2 people near the college. A fatal accident involving a lorry triggered scenes of violence that went on for the better part of last night and this morning. Fred Muturi reports.
The rowdy students gathered at around 6 a.m. and went on rampage, rendering the Kisii-Keroka highway impassable for the whole day. They set ablaze 6 lorries and a van. The chaos involving police, angry students and locals were triggered by a 7 p.m. Thursday night accident in which a lorry ferrying electricity poles overturned and killed 2 people. In this morning's chaos, police were forced to shoot in the air to scatter the protesters before dramatically collecting the 2 bodies that had been left at the accident scene overnight. More chaos erupted in the middle of the town as the police were manning the roads and trying to keep off the students from accessing the town.
So wanafunzi tumekasirika, tumepoteza wanafunzi wenzetu wawili. So what we want to do, we want the government watuambie shida ni gani, watuite, watulete pamoja.
Nation photojournalist Benson Mumanyi suffered injuries on his arm after being roughed up by the police and his camera lens broken, while a Standard newspaper photojournalist Dennis Ochieng suffered a jaw injury.
Kama ilivyo desturi, kukiwa na vita, mwandishi wa habari unaenda karibu na askari, lakini nilipofika karibu na askari hakuwa tayari kunisaidia. Alijaribu kuvuta press card yangu itoke yenye ilipasuka na akabaki nayo. Kisha nikigeuka kumwambia wachana na mimi ni mwanahabari, akanigonga fimbo kwa mkono. Baada ya kunigonga nikijaribu kutoroka, aliniteka kutoka nyuma.
Them I saw aiming almost at me, and then the bullet hit at the tarmac. In fact, somewhere I got afraid. I started running back, and then one of them said, "Huyu ni anaitwa Deno, ni wa traffic pia." Akasema huyu ni mtu wa press namjua, mwacheni. And then I gathered some courage to go back. When going back, a stone came from the public. Ikaingia hapo, ikaanguka karibu na polisi. And then one of them ambaye alikuwa hapo nyuma, baada huyu mwenye alikuwa ananiprotect amenitetea, ashapita kidogo. Huyu akachukua tu hilo jiwe, akanigonga tu kwa uso.
A senior police officer lost a firearm as students charged, as police officers had strict orders to ensure no student was hurt. County Commander Simon Kiragu, who spoke on phone, confirmed the incident and promised to launch investigations into the attack on journalists by the police.
Hii ni hasara nyingine ya hebu angalia kama ile hii nyingine vile chinaungua, lori msime inaungua mpaka chini. Hebu chuulize, mnaona vile mabati iko. Enyewe hasara, enyewe watoto walikufa, enyewe ni hasara mbaya sana, na magari ni hasara mbaya sana. Kwa ajili hiyo gari ndio mtu anategemea.
Mimi nikafikia ni mchezo ukimbia na hao watu. Nikafikia wanatania wanarusa hii maneni. Hii matiagasi. Ukimbia sasa siku hicho kilikuwa wanatendeka. Sasa ukimbia kumbe ilikuwa serious. Nikaonga masasi pale bila makosa.
The student got a gunshot wound to the thigh bone, the femur, which is crushed. There are 2 others who have minor injuries. One of them has gone for x-rays, but is in very stable condition. The others are being stabilized.
For now, tension is still high, but a heavy presence of the security officers from the regular police and general service unit have been deployed in the volatile area to avert any more chaos overnight. Fred Muturi, KTN, Kisii.
From Kisii to Embu, now the government has extended by 1 month the dusk to dawn curfew imposed on Garissa, Mandera, Wajir and Tana River due to insecurity in the north. The earlier curfew was due to expire tomorrow. Meanwhile, police in Embu are holding a 28-year-old man arrested on suspicions of planning terror activities in Embu and Kirinyaga counties. The suspect, Daniel Mwangi Washuma, is suspected to have been planning his activities at the Embu airstrip when he was arrested by police officers manning the airstrip. Embu West OCPD Terry Misheni said the suspect swallowed several SIM cards he had and at the same time tried to delete 4 numbers. He was handed over to the anti-terrorism police unit.
When the policemen approached him, they noticed that he had a queer movement, and on checking him, we found that he had some SIM cards, which he started swallowing. Other than the SIM cards, he had quite a number of numbers, mobile numbers, which he did the same, and also bangi. We were able to save some, which we are investigating and interrogating him.
Now, as Class 1 pupils around the country prepare to receive the much-awaited laptops from the government, their teachers are being trained on how to use this new methodology of teaching. Mercy Kandia tells us what that training was like in Elgeyo Marakwet County.
Let's now go back to our lesson. I've just said this is...
It's a class in session where the tables have turned. The students here are actually teachers, lower primary school teachers, for a 5-day training to prepare them for the laptop project for Standard 1 pupils set to start next year.
There is going to be less of using chalks now. We are going to use PowerPoint projectors. The teachers are going to use PowerPoint projectors and digital media to convey the information to the students.
I came here when I was analog, but now I work out digital teacher.
The concentration here is high, and so is the excitement. They know too well the future depends on it, and so they take notes to also train the teachers back at school.
And make sure that there is credit in your phone or some data bundle.
They are taught on how to use the laptops and their phones too in accessing information on the net.
I am able to plan my work in the laptop. I can still transfer to the PowerPoint. I can present online. I can still get pictures from the internet and use them in class.
Helen Kosgei has been a teacher since 1977. Almost retiring, she says it was challenging at first, being used to the chalk. Now their fingers and eyes focus on a digital world.
I, for one, is becoming digital, though soon I'll be retiring. So I believe in change. If one does not change, then that person is going to break up. You cannot continue in the society if you don't change.
At some point, it was hard because we would be told double click, right click, left click. No, you see, and the worst part of it is when you are importing pictures from the internet and then maybe you want to save, and then you want to put it in the work you are preparing. That was the worst part of it. Into the PowerPoint. That was the worst part of it.
363 teachers in KU South, Elgeyo Marakwet County are being trained from 121 schools, with the greatest concern of teachers being that they may not be an authority in a class where children are techno-savvy.
Though they are digital, they will always know that we are teachers, and they believe that we know more than them. So we should not be intimidated by our own pupils.
Questions are asked and the trainers answer, taking time to explain the concerns. After all, if it's exciting to the teachers, then class should be exciting. It's been 5 days of embracing change. Change, as they say, is inevitable, and after today, teachers from the lower primary will walk out of this door with more knowledge and being able to handle a digital generation. Masi Kandie, KTN, Kemwarer, Keyo South Sub-County.
Catholic faithful have marked the beginning of the long beatification process in Nyeri. They held a church service known as a consecration mass that has sanctified the final burial site of Sister Irene Stefani's remains. International guests are expected to continue streaming into Nyeri County to witness this historic event. Carol Nderi has been following this particular process.
Melodious hymns belled out of the 58-year-old Cathedral of Our Lady of Consolata in Nyeri town to signify the first hallmark of the beatification process, the consecration mass. Presided over by 6 priests, among them the Italian-speaking pontulator of the course of the beatification, Gottardo Pascaletti, the mass is meant to consecrate the sarcophagus. This is the bulletproof glass and aluminium casket where the remains of Sister Irene Stefani Nyatha will be laid to rest. The sarcophagus will be transferred from the Mathari Central Chapel on the 3rd day of the 3-day event.
Sono qui per la celebrazione della beatificazione di Suor Irene Stefani.
He is here for the beatification ceremony to see if the program is going on well.
In an intricate process, the casket is prepared for the final resting place of the Italian nun right inside the church building of the Consolata Cathedral. Her remains will be buried between the graves of the late Archbishop Nicodemus Kirema and Bishop Caesar Maria Gattimu.
When she left Italy, she was very young. She was 20 years old. But by then, she had already proved to be a very strong Christian, strong in her faith and strong in her charity.
A week to the beatification ceremony, mementos bearing her pictures such as umbrellas, books and other objects are being churned out in large numbers, with local traders hoping to cash in on the frenzy. Nyeri town has undergone a major transformation in the last few days in the run-up to the international event. What the residents hope now is that some of the projects initiated by the national government, such as the street lighting, will be maintained by the county government and the town will remain as dazzling.
So I would encourage the people, not only of Kenya, but all over the world, that they come to Nyeri as a pilgrimage, just as they go, for example, to Our Lady of Lourdes or Fatima.
We are actually getting a vehicle just for the maintenance of lights. And in fact, one vehicle properly, you know, those specialized vehicles for maintenance of lighting will handle Karatina and Nyeri and Odaya at the same time. So I want to assure you the lights, once they go up, they will remain working.
On the first day, there will be a night vigil at Gekondi. On the second day, the main event will be held at the Dedan Kimathi University, where President Uhuru Kenyatta is expected to attend. And on the third and final day, there will be a procession from the Mathari Central Chapel to this church where we are, Our Lady of Consolata, where her remains, Sister Stefani's relics, will be interred. Carol Nderi, KTN, Nyeri.
Reports from Burundi indicate that 3 of the top coup plotters who attempted to overthrow President Pierre Nkurunziza have been arrested. News from Bujumbura say the main coup leader, General Godefroid Niyombare, still remains in hiding but has admitted that his coup attempt failed. The Burundi president's office also indicated that President Nkurunziza returned to the capital with his supporters dancing and celebrating in party colors. Renegade General and former Defense Minister General Cyril Ndayirukiye was reportedly one of the 3 coup leaders arrested today in that crackdown. Human rights groups say more than 105,000 people have so far fled into the neighboring countries since chaos began last month. And to give us a detailed overview of what is currently taking place in Burundi, I'm now joined in studio by the Burundi Foreign Affairs Minister, Laurent Kabukure, who's accompanied by the Burundian Ambassador to Kenya, Beatrice Kankindi. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Maybe we could just give us an overview of what the situation is right now in Burundi.
The situation now is very peaceful. We have calm after the aborted attempted coup d'etat, which took place on Wednesday this week. While we were holding a meeting, a special summit for the head of state of the East African community. Almost the mutineers has been now arrested, among them General Major Niyombare Godefroy, the former ambassador of Burundi here in Kenya, and the others leaders of that rebellion, among them effectively the General Cyril Nyeri, the former Minister of Defense on Buyoya's regime.
All right.
Yes.
And where is the president? Because there are conflicting reports on whether the president is in the country or is he still out of the country, and if he's not in the country, who is in charge?
As I told you, when the coup d'etat took place, the president was in Dar es Salaam in a meeting, a regional meeting with other members of East African community head of state, and now he's already in Bujumbura, and he has just now addressed a peaceful message to the nation.
All right. Thank you very much,
Thank
sir
you.
and lady, for your time.
Thank you.
All right, so we want to take a short commercial break, but of course we will be back in just a few minutes. We also want to give you a reminder of a big question tonight, and it is, what is your comment on the President's ultimatum to accounting officers at the Kenya Airports Authority? What is your comment on the President's ultimatum to accounting officers at the Kenya Airports Authority? We'd like to hear your views. The number to text in is 22155, but you can also tweet us. The hashtag on Twitter is Friday Briefing. We now take a short commercial break. We'll be back. Welcome back to Friday Briefing. Now, controversy is brewing in Nairobi's upmarket Lavington area over ownership of a 1-acre piece of prime land whose value is estimated at 700 million shillings. Patrick Amimo has the details.
This plot measuring 1 acre and an eighth is the source of controversy. Robert Otachi says he bought the land from Ahmed Ali Odey in July 1991 at a cost of 6 million shillings. But in 1992, ownership dispute arose over the land after an Asian businessman emerged and laid claim to the property. In November 2011, Justice M.G. Mugo ruled that the title owned by the Asian businessman was fraudulently acquired.
He is purporting to be the owner of the property. I have court orders to that effect, that any document held by Woolwich Company are fake.
Otachi was not enjoined in the case. Otachi argues he was left out of the case because the claimants were trying their luck on the property which appeared abandoned.
A Mr. Raju Shangani from a company called Woolwich has been masquerading within the precinct of Nairobi County, pretending to find ways to auction this property in order that he can acquire it. He is touching a wrong cable.
But in an interesting ruling, though Justice Mugo said persons who sold the land to the Asian acquired it fraudulently, the judge concluded that a valid agreement for sale was entered into between Ahmed Ali Odey, now deceased, and Angelo Costaba. Costaba allegedly paid Odey 1.15 million shillings to redeem the property from a credit finance company that had threatened to sell the land. Otachi maintains he is the genuine owner of the land and accuses some officers at County Hall of attempting to grab his property. He says he owes the county government 48 million shillings in unpaid rates.
Everybody who is coming to this plot were accompanied by police officers, city inspectorates, is particularly mentioning that they have orders from the governor's office. I was informed by some agents out there when I went to pay the rates that the property has been checked by so many people out there in the streets, and their eyes are on this property particularly. Now they are running in the corridors of the city council fighting to grab the property.
It's in my constituency. I'll protect those ones, the developers who are genuine, but also who have gotten land in the right manner. But at the moment, for this one, it stands that there is a crisis. Not police who can resolve the issues of this land. Not the office of the governor who are going to resolve the issues of this land. This is another scandal. You want it to be unearthed.
On Monday, trouble emerged when Otachi got a license from the city planning department to fence the property. Officers from the city inspectorate department landed on the property and destroyed the fence. Otachi explains why he decided to fence the plot.
The neighborhood had complained several times that the place is like desolate. Thieves or thugs are around the Odhaya Road. Normally in the night when they are terrorizing people around here, they sneak in and duck into the building, hide in.
This is one case among many others involving disputed ownership. Patrick Amimo, KTN.
Residents of Mwiki in Nairobi's Kasarani area today took to the streets to express their anger over poor roads. The residents blocked the roads for hours to get the attention of the authorities. As Timothy Otieno reports, they got that attention in the form of a promise from the Kenya Urban Roads Authority.
Friday morning at the normally busy Kasarani Mwiki Road, and it's not business as usual. Residents here have barricaded the road with stones, determined not to allow flow of traffic in the area. A huge container in the middle of the road, perhaps an indication that they have had enough, and their plea is simple: make our roads. The protesters gathered in numbers, burning tires and stopping some motorists from accessing the area. For 6 months now, they say they have been ignored and they will not keep silent anymore.
From the way from Season up to the Mwiki, barabara inakaa shaba. Tatufanye namna gani?
Kama jana mimi nilikaa 4 hours. 4 hours. Wadhi wote wameshashuka wameenda mguu. Siwezi geuka niende wadhi wengine tao. Jami imeshikana juu ya nini? Hata wewe unakemba buda. Kama jana usiku watu walitoka mguu kutoka Roysabu mpaka Mweki.
These are their concerns. Poor drainage and huge mud puddles adorn the stretch of the road, with cars and motorbikes struggling to navigate. They say the Kenyan Urban Roads Authority has failed them, and that is not all. They blame the county government for ignoring their plight.
This is pending disaster. This is kipindupindu. This is cholera shwari.
Viongozi wenye tulichagua hatujawahi kuwaona.
Their displeasure, however, appears to have caught the attention of those concerned. The Ministry of Transport sent out a tweet saying the road will be rehabilitated under phase 1 of the annuity program. A stand backed by the Kenyan Urban Roads Authority that sent out a statement to KTN saying, and I quote, "The Kenya government has advertised for the improvement of a dual carriageway under the annuity program. The evaluation of the bids is ongoing and is expected to be completed soon. Meanwhile, the authority has deployed a contractor to repair the road to a motorable standard," end quote. The state of the roads in the area, they say, is costing them both time and money. And if nothing is done soon, they say they will seek audience at the governor's office in Nairobi's City Hall.
Governor Kidelo atufanyie kitu kwa hii barabara. Akikosa kufanya hii kitu kwa hii barabara, tunapatia siku 7. Tutarudi kwa barabara na tutaandamana mpaka ofisi yake.
It's a cry of our people who say the state of the roads cannot be contained any further, and now their plea to the county government is that something can be done sooner rather than later. Timothy Otieno, KTN, Mwiki, Kasarani.
Right, so we're just about to take a short commercial break. Seems like my guest anchor, Ferdinand Waititu, has stood me up, but we will still wait for him. But let's sample a few tweets here and the messages, of course, regarding our big question tonight. And we were asking you, what is your comment on the president's ultimatum to accounting officers? Sylvester Aura says the president is blowing a whistle on graft in his own government. Isn't that an indicator that he is failing? Kamau Ndirango says if accounting officers are incapable of accounting, they should be dismissed. Kibet Andrew says it shows how the president is totally against corruption, so we must all support by all means. Thank you very much for all your feedback. Keep them coming. The hashtag remains Friday Briefing on Twitter, and the text message number is 22155. We take that short commercial break. Don't go away. Business is coming up next, but we also have Willis, the word master in Kisumu Counting, and today he has some very difficult words that he will be learning. Let's take that break.
You are watching KTN Friday Briefing.
Welcome back to Friday Briefing. Now, Kenya's bid to ease air travel got a shot in the arm following the opening of a new passenger terminal at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. The terminal is not only expected to expand capacity by 2.5 million passengers at the airport, but as well as open up Kenya's aviation sector to the Greater Eastern and Southern Africa circuit. The terminal, built from prefabricated materials, has been under construction for 6 months at a cost of 1.7 billion shillings. Its opening signifies a sign of recovery from the August 2013 fire incident that gutted the International Arrivals Unit. KTN's Charles Gitonga attended the opening ceremony that was graced by the head of state.
The 7th of August 2013, a day that will forever be etched as part of Jomo Kenyatta International Airport's history. A fire that gutted the International Arrivals Terminal almost crippled East Africa's largest airport, and for a moment, visitors from abroad will be attended to from makeshift tents. The incident, however, drew the attention of the government to the much-needed fast-tracking of expansion and innovation programs at the airport. In July 2014, the airport opened Terminal 1A that had been under construction for close to 4 years at a cost of 9.3 billion shillings. Close to 2 years on, President Uhuru Kenyatta today inaugurated the brand new Terminal 2, constructed using prefabricated materials at a cost of 1.7 billion shillings, an undertaking that is expected to manage the growing passenger traffic at the airport.
I remember we were here slightly over about a year ago when we had the unfortunate incident where our terminal was gutted by fire. And being here 1 year later to officially launch a brand new terminal, I think is both a moment of pride and a clear indication of the resilience of the Kenyan people.
Before completion of Terminal 1A and now Terminal 2, the airport's capacity was 2.5 million passengers every year, and the latest 2 installations will now see the facility handle up to 7.5 million passengers. At the moment, traffic at the airport has grown to 6 million passengers and is predicted to hit 25 million by the year 2025.
This growth in traffic calls for sustained increase in passenger handling capacity through infrastructure investment. We are implementing a number of projects in the pipeline to expand and modernize existing facilities and open up the new ones.
The projects in the pipeline include the 55.5 billion shillings Greenfield Terminal, whose phase 1 of construction will be completed in 2018 and is expected to handle 20 million passengers every year. The Jomo Kenyatta International Airport is step by step picking itself up from the ashes of August 2013 and now to a brand new terminal that will increase its annual passenger throughput to 7.5 million people.
Charles Gitonga, KTN.
The long overdue privatization of 5 sugar mills may finally be complete in the next 9 months. The 5 mills in Nzoia, South Nyanza, Chemelil, Muhoroni and Miwani were first earmarked for sale in 2009, but the process has been dogged by delays and the fact that the privatization board has not had a substantive board. The 5 mills are in urgent need of modernization to survive competition from the entry of other sugar producers and an impending end to sugar imports limits from the Commercer trade bloc after the end of a 1-year extension given early this year. Already, Muhoroni and Miwani sugar mills have been placed under receivership for failing to meet financial obligations. In a statement in the dailies, the Privatization Commission says 51% of each of the millers will be sold to strategic investors with a track record of managing sugar companies. A further 24% of the companies will be sold to employees and farmers who grow sugarcane on contract for the mills. Now, the battle for supremacy for control of the multi-billion shillings Tatu City project rages on with fresh accusations of embezzlement coming to the fore. At the center of it is a 9 billion at the center of it is a 9 billion shillings land fraud case that threatens to sink the project into further wars. With the battle lines seemingly drawn between Tatu City's local and foreign investors, arbitration at an international court looks as the only way likely to unlock the puzzle. Abi Agena has more on this developing story.
Launched in 2010, the Tatu City project was the largest commercial and residential project the country had ever seen, sitting on over 1,000 acres. The 240 billion shillings project was set to change urban development in the country. But that's where the good story ends. Since then, the project has been dogged in controversy and a battle for control between local and foreign investors. And when the top shareholders called for a press conference, it was clear from the onset it was going to be an all-out war for control of the project.
This is a scandal of international proportions now.
From one court case to another over the last 5 years, the project is yet to take off. In the latest court papers filed by Tatu City lawyers, former Central Bank Governor Nahashon Nyaga is accused of illegally transferring land associated with Tatu City valued at 9 billion shillings to proxies.
This is a 9 billion Kenyan shilling theft perpetrated by the former governor of the Central Bank of Kenya. So if these kinds of issues cannot be resolved, you are not going to have foreign investment.
The Tatu City housing project, which is poised to house over 80,000 residents, has never taken off nearly 3 years after its groundbreaking. And now the Kenyan shareholders are being accused of resorting to intimidation.
Vimal Shah, Nahashon Nyaga and Stephen Mugweru have been masquerading as major shareholders with a great deal of influence over Tatu, when in fact their shareholding is virtually non-existent. They've invested virtually nothing in the project.
However, Nyaga and Vimal Shah have challenged the decision to eject them from holding positions in the board. The two are in court in an attempt to stop the change of directorship at Tatu City, which had been orchestrated by Jennings and 3 other directors. The duo have requested for an audit of repayment for a loan used to acquire the properties. Nyaga, who owns a minority stake of 0.03% in the project, is yet to issue a rejoinder to the latest allegations of fraud leveled against him. According to Jennings, they are now exploring international arbitration over the matter, which is proving to hold back billions of dollars worth of investments. The failure of the project to take off poses a great risk to Kenya's image on the international front, with various multinationals such as coffee maker Dormans and Coopers having made the intentions of investing in Tatu City. Abi Agina, KTN Business.
The Kenya Union of Savings and Credit Cooperatives, KUSCO, wants the fast-tracking of the East African Community Cooperative Bill. The bill will make it possible for cooperatives to tap new markets for growth and deepen financial inclusion. So far, the bill has been passed by the East African Legislative Assembly and is awaiting presidential assent in the member countries. The bill has been set up to enable cooperatives exploit business opportunities in the region and enhance strong collaborations and economic engagements in East Africa. Kenya has the largest and the most vibrant SACCO movement in Africa and is expected to reap huge if the 5 heads of state will assent to the bill.
Thank you, sir. We are the largest in the East African region, and our main interest is to increase the membership penetration. This act will open up the market for us. And as you know, our nature as Kenyan business people, we like aggression in other dormant markets.
We will take our time, and I think KUSCO would be one of those institutions to actually assure us that the movement is now happy and the document we have is good enough for us to be competitive within the region just like that.
Let's now take a look at the financial markets. Well, that's it for business. We take a very short break, but Mind Your Language is right up next. Stay tuned. Well, it's that time of the night that we love. Time for us to learn some proper English pronunciations. And who to teach us other than Willis, the word master himself, the pronunciation genius. Willis, it's great to see you this evening. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Betty. It's also great to see you in yellow.
Willis, you know, last week you shocked, I think, the nation when you told us we say stomach and not stomach. That has been the talk of town, I'm telling you.
I know, you know, most of these English words, sometimes we make mistakes in our pronunciations because of what we innocently acquired at the formative stage, Betty.
I like that. So it's stomach and not stomach. All right, so let's get to tonight's stomach. So let's get to tonight's lesson. And we're going to start with word on the street, a very interesting word. Let's hear what Kenyans had to say.
Syringe. 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 Ama syringe.
Ni sarije? Ama ni sa? Sarije? Sarige? 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 Sarige.
Syringe. Syringe. Syringe.
Salage. Salage. Salage.
Syringe. Syringe.
Syringe. Na kwa wenye hawajasoma siringe.
Srag. Srag.
Syringe. Syringe. Syringe.
Syringe. Syringe.
Syringe. Syringe.
Syringe. Siding. Syringe.
Syringe. Syringe.
Stranger. Stranger.
Stranger.
Willis, you've heard that. I do not want to laugh at them because I do not know how to correctly pronounce that name. Syringe, syringe, syringe. Which is the correct pronunciation of that word?
Well, we can't laugh at anybody. I've always said nobody, not even myself, can be totally perfect when it comes to matters language, especially pronunciation of foreign languages. But this word, Betty, we say syringe, syringe. We have a stress or a primary stress on the second syllable. So, syringe is the correct or acceptable pronunciation.
All right, Willis, syringe. Got it. Then moving on to this other word. Do you say integration or integration?
In the first place, Betty, we don't have ER. That sequence ER is not found in that word. We have INTE. That is INTE, not INTER as in international. So we say integration, integration, not integration. Inti, not inter.
That is a surprise, Willis. Integration.
I know.
All right, Willis, I think we are in for a treat tonight. So it's integration and not every other thing that we usually say. That's a nice one. Let's move on to another one here. Do we say clause or clause when you mean a particular part or article of a document? Is it clause or clause? Or clause? We
don't say clause. We don't say clause, clause and all that. We say clause, clause. We have what we call a vowel digraph, that is A and U forms the long vowel sound O. Clause. Just like in pause, not pause, pause. We also say cause, the cause, C-A-U-S-E, not cows.
All right. Willis, you've used a word that very many people have always wanted me to ask you about, digraph. You know, you use this strange word, digraph, diphthong. Maybe you should explain that, some of them to us. So digraph, what does that mean? Vowel digraph.
Betty, those who study phonetics may be at home with such terms, but not everybody studies, phonetics or phonology. So in this case, when I talk about a digraph, that is a combination of two letters that form a sound. Two letters, like in this case, A and U, forming the long vowel sound O. Clause. August, not August.
All right, Willis got it. So we've understood digraph. Next week you'll teach us something else. Willis, moving on to another difficult word. I can't also pronounce this word correctly. I always feel like I'm messing it up. Statutory. What do we call that word? Something relating to a statute or statute. A lot of confusion
statutory.
there.
We say statutory, but you can also say statutory. 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 So the two pronunciations are acceptable.
All right.
Statutory, statutory.
Statutory and okay. I think I'll stick to Will it just come again?
Betty, we pronounce the word as statutory, but you can also say statutory. So statutory is also acceptable.
All right. What about this other one? Do we say statute or statute?
Statute. Statute.
Okay.
The statute.
All right. Got it, Willis. Moving on to another word that we commonly use. Do we say tuition or tuition? Tuition fees, tuition fees. How do we pronounce that one?
That is a very tricky word, Betty, in English. It's common but very tricky.
Yes.
We should avoid saying tuition or tuition.
Tuition.
We should say tuition, tuition. Tuition, no. In fact, you can use tuition and tuition, but don't say tuition in careers of serious communication.
Okay. Willis, today you are on fire. tuition. Is that correct?
I know. Some words look very simple and common,
Yes.
but I can tell you for free, they are very, very tricky when it comes to correct or acceptable pronunciation.
So it's tuition. Tuition, is that correct?
Tuition,
Okay.
you can also say tui, tui or tiwi, but
Okay.
not tuition.
Okay, got it, Willis. Moving on to another common word, battery or battery. It's a simple word, but you know, varied pronunciations, Willis. Take us to school.
That word has two acceptable pronunciations.
Okay.
Two acceptable pronunciations, what we'd call alternative pronunciations.
Uh-huh.
You can say battery, battery, or you can say battery.
Got it. Moving quickly to our feedback question, and Rita Kiprono from Eldoret wants to know, do we say possess or possess?
In the first place, that Rita Kiprono sent me a message and said she loves mind your language like nothing else. Anyway,
Great.
that aside, we say possess, possess. The first double S takes the voiced sound Z, but the last double S is just voiceless.
Okay.
So possess,
Possess.
possess. We should avoid possess.
All right, Willis. So after telling us about the integration, do you have any other surprise word, Willis?
Betty, tonight I'll remind you about, when we talk of something that makes an activity or process to develop more quickly, you'll find many people talking about impetus.
Yes.
Impetus because of what we see. Now, that word is not impetus. We say impetus, not impetus. That letter E takes the pure or short vowel sound E. Impetus. So we should avoid impetus.
Wow, Willis. So that's an amazing way to end Mind Your Language today. Impetus. Got it, Willis. Integration. I loved tonight's lesson, Willis.
It's always my pleasure to be right here to talk about the correct or acceptable pronunciation of English words, but we should remember that these are the pronunciations that are deemed fit for careers of serious communication. Not everybody would use them.
All right, Willis. Thank you so much. Call him Willis, the word master, coming to us from Kisumu County, teaching us those difficult pronunciations like integration and impetus. You can only find him right here on Friday Briefing.
An action-packed and sporty day it has been. A very good evening and welcome to today's edition of KTN Sports. My name is Moses Wahisi. Today we start on the track where the 2007 World 800 meters Janet Jepkosgei champion, together with the reigning world champion Eunice Sum, will be reunited for the first time this season, and that's during the second stop of the IAAF Diamond League in Shanghai this Saturday. The two are among the athletes who have chosen to skip the season opener in Doha, Qatar. The series sets a battle for the Beijing World Athletics Championship slots.
Janet Jepkosgei and Eunice Sum have more in common than just being the only two Kenyan women to have won the 800 meters world title. Jepkosgei won in 2007, while her student Sum clinched it in 2013. They both train together and they inspire each other. On the other hand, however, they have gotten used to competing against each other. They will both kick off their 2015 season at the Shanghai Diamond League this Saturday.
I know where she's weak and she knows where I'm weak.
I think I can consider myself as one of the lucky people. Being there with the people who mentored you, with the people who make you the way you are now.
The 2015 season may seem a bigger challenge for Jepkosgei, who has had to watch her people, Sum, on several occasions, take charge of the two-lap race, but the 2008 Olympic silver medalist is determined to stay focused.
The training had been going on well and then I got an injury. But right now I'm okay and I'm getting back something which actually I'd missed for some few years.
With the World Athletics Championships set to go down in August, Jepkosgei is eyeing a return to the bird's nest where she won silver during the 2008 Olympics. With a career spanning over a decade, Eldoret Express, as she is commonly referred to, is more realistic about her goals and aspirations, and she currently finds more satisfaction in nurturing upcoming runners. She will on Saturday compete against Eunice Soom, who is a 6-time Diamond League winner, United States' Jennifer Meadows, and Uganda's Winnie Manyondo, among other athletes.
Right, so we're just about to wind up this edition of KTN Friday Briefing. But of course, let's have a review of our big question tonight. And we had asked you, what is your comment on President Uhuru Kenyatta's ultimatum to accounting officers at the Kenya Airports Authority regarding the 11 buses that have now become controversial? Let's now take a look at some of your comments. I'll start with Twitter. Mukamba Kivindio says, wait till they are taken to court, jailed and declared unfit for any government office, then we can celebrate. Someone here, 50,000 Makweni Voices, says the president is emptying corruption through the cabinet while filing it through parastatal appointments. Harrison Ikunde says the country is stinking of corruption all over. God shine your mercy and light to Kenyans. Another opinion here. Heather Njuguna says he is frustrated. He can't be everywhere all the time. He has appointed people that have not been diligent. Harrison Ikunda has a different opinion and says, tonight I sleep with some pride over Uhuru Kenyatta's gesture. Sir, please don't disappoint. Let me sample another pack of messages on our SMS service. He was shooting from the hip, strong words demanding immediate action. This is the best I have seen him showing true concern over waste of public resources. That's Murioki in Kerugoya. Thank you very much. Another person here says, Kenyans have become used to Uhuru's empty threats on corruption. That's Sasha Agade from Malaba. Another opinion here, he has finished his talk and Kenyans are now waiting for actions. That's George Ingambo Emuhaya. Maybe a last message here. Those concerns should become a lesson to so many others. Mr. President, deal with them firmly. Thank you very much for all your feedback and for watching KTN Friday Briefing. Thank you very much, and see you next week. But of course, have a lovely weekend.